Before I begin today, I'd like to say I got almost all of my information from the CDC. This is a CDC bar graph showing ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, in the United States throughout the years. According to the CDC, children 2 to 5, the number of young children with ADHD increased by more than 50%. Children ages 4 to 17, ADHD diagnosis continued to increase from 7.8% in 2003 to 11% in 2011 to 2012. ADHD is a growing mental health issue in the United States. Today I'm going to talk about what it is, how it's diagnosed, and how it's treated. So, what it is. ADHD has symptoms of inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity. So, inattention. According to the National Institute for Mental Health, inattention is defined as not being able to stay on task, sustaining focus, having persistence, and being organized. So a child in a classroom, they would not be able to do their homework, do what the teacher asks the child to do, and they'd be daydreaming throughout the class. Hyperactivity, according to the National Institute for Mental Health, hyperactivity means excessive movement in individuals. So I have a friend that's hyperactive. He shows that he interrupts me, he's loud, he can't focus when we're playing video games or playing board games or whatever activity we're doing. He's just super hyperactive, like he's taking a Red Bull. And then the last quality is impulsivity. According to the National Institute for Mental Health, impulsivity means making a quick decision without first considering the ramifications for such actions. So a child, they act before they think. And this can be a problem because, say the child might run across the street to get the ball because it's on impulse, and that's obviously a problem because there's traffic. If they run across the street, they could get hit and possibly die, which would be terrible. Now I'm going to talk about how a child is diagnosed with ADHD. A child is diagnosed by a healthcare professional, such as a primary care provider, a psychologist, or psychiatrist. They are diagnosed at a different age by different people. So according to the CDC, psychiatrists diagnose children under 6, psychologists diagnose children older than 6, and primary care providers, usually pediatricians, diagnose about half of the children in the study. So family is usually first concerned that the child may have a problem and like ADHD. The kid will have the symptoms that I've previously talked about at school or at home, and the child will need to be brought in to the primary care provider, the psychologist, or psychiatrist for a diagnosis. They are diagnosed by behavioral rating scale and outside sources by the doctor. According to the CDC, behavioral rating scales or checklists were used for about 9 out of 10 children assessed for ADHD. So a behavior rating scale is a good measure for the doctor to determine if the child has ADHD. They identify the symptoms, hyperactivity, impulsivity, and inattention to determine if the child has ADHD. I believe it's around 15 minutes with the child that they're in the office, and from the outside sources such as the mom or the father and the school teacher. So, lastly, I'm going to talk about ADHD treatment. So I have a picture of a fidget spinner, and the first time I saw this was because a friend came to stay with me down in College Station, and he told me that he had ADHD and claimed that this toy, which became extremely popular in 2017, it helped him because it spun around a bunch, and I guess that he thinks it's helping him stay on focus and controlling his hyperactivity because he has a toy in his hand. Now this isn't proven, but it's just an interesting example of a toy that's trying to treat ADHD. The treatment includes behavioral therapy and medications. That's what health professionals will use to actually help. This may or may not, the science isn't out yet. So behavioral therapy treatment. According to the CDC, 13% of children of all ages that have ADHD treated with behavior therapy alone. So this is a type of psychotherapy it alters the behavior of the child to control the symptoms involved with ADHD. And then the second most popular is the medication. According to the CDC, 40 to 30% of children of all ages with ADHD were treated with medication alone. This was the most common single treatment. So with the medication, they prescribe stimulants and non-stimulants. Stimulants include methylphenidate and amphetamine. This increases dopamine, and it can help the child stay on target and remember when they're doing tasks, and they can get better organized. And non-stimulants are just a substitute for if the child's allergic to stimulants. Stimulants is usually what treats the ADHD. And a combination of the medication and behavioral therapy is the best option for the child that has ADHD. Okay, now I'd like to do a review. ADHD has inattention. The symptoms of ADHD is inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. They're diagnosed by a primary care provider, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist, but most of the time it's by a primary care provider, such as a pediatrician. And they are treated by using behavioral therapy and medications, such as the stimulants that I've listed. And ADHD is a growing mental health issue in the United States. And if you think a child or you may even have ADHD, I would suggest to do more research into ADHD. Thank you.